Peace and Life, Fifth Element Live. The elements of hip hop are DJing, graffiti, breaking, knowledge, and
Yo, mama.
Biddy, did you come here to play or did you come here to finesse?
We can't all get a pair of socks?
I told you, Patrick, I was coming for you. I took you out.
You're still whack, copy?
What's going on, family? I come to you live from Worsby's Live headquarters in Columbia Heights, Washington, D.C. with my good brother, Flex Matthews. We're going to have a conversation today. There's a lot of stuff going on. You know, per usual, folks are talking about Kanye. But people are also talking about Elon Musk. And on a positive note, people are talking about Primetime, also known as Deion Sanders, and the work that he's doing to promote Black colleges and particularly athletic programs in Black colleges and universities. This should be interesting because I know Flex doesn't care about all this stuff, but maybe he's got opinions anyway. Flex.
Peace.
What's poppin', brother?
Nothing much, man. Life is good. God is good. How you doing?
I am excellent, my dear friend. You know, one of the things that's kind of interesting right now is just how many people are up in arms about things in media at the exact same time that we're about to have an election that actually has real world consequences on things like the bodily autonomy of women in the United States, that has real world consequences in terms of the next 2 years of the presidential of Joe Biden being president, because the Republicans have already said that they're going to impeach him. They haven't figured out for what yet, but they're going to impeach him. So we're going to spend 2 years impeaching the sitting president for no actual. Well, I mean, the reason they say is over the border. Republicans say they want to cancel Social Security and all kinds of other things that are real world happenings. But people somewhere between your age, my age, and people who are 18 are focused on these other things that are not those things. And I almost wonder if there is a reason that this stuff is happening at this exact moment to make it so those folks are not necessarily paying attention to the real world consequences of electoral politics. Like, we're so caught up in what's happening with our favorite rapper or fashionista or, planner of global domination in the form of Elon Musk that we're not actually paying attention to the people that manage our money, impact our inflation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I wonder, though, as I say all that stuff, what are the things you're focused on right
now? What am I focused on? I think I'm just focused on art. How to make the best art possible. I got a show tonight, and you see me rap for a long time, but I have a song in my set that talks about gun control. And a lot of people who have seen me just rap about rap stuff. I'm rapping because I'm rapping because I'm dope, and I want y'all to know I'm dope. I just felt like I needed to hop out there and just push the envelope for myself. And so just kind of like making my art more, broader and just tapping into things that I feel like I should be expressing, so gun control and, things like that are things that I'm trying to tap into because I feel like there needs to be more control on that end.
I'm curious, was that inspired by one of your former students, Ahmad, and the work that he's doing around promoting, music around a similar topic, or was it just because that's what's on your heart?
No, it's just what's on my heart. I wrote this song maybe like 3 years ago, and I just started incorporating it into my set maybe like a couple months ago. So that I write a whole bunch of music that I never do or do anything with, and this song I was just like, you know what, let's put this in the set and see what happens, and it's kind of cool. So yeah.
Well, so you've got a show tonight for folks that are in the DMV area. Where is that show and what time?
Oh, it's at Pure, which is the old Bar None, and it's at 8:00. And this one door's open. The EXO, J Mills, a whole bunch of cool people.
Who else is performing?
EXO, J Mills, and a whole slew of really dope artists. Like, it's really amazing.
That's what's up. Cool right there. And I'm curious, Flex, for folks that don't know who you are, how long have you been rapping here in DC?
Jeez, man. officially since like 98, 97, 98. That's the first time I ever grabbed a microphone in front of people that wasn't like high school.
So I want to fall into the same trap that everybody in the media is falling in for a brief moment, which is to talk a little bit about Kanye, but not necessarily about, what he's saying or how you feel about what he's saying. But I wonder what you think about the way that people are responding to what he's saying. And by people, I mean people in your circle, how it is that they are either offended or outraged or taking action against or supportive of the things that he's saying.
I mean, I think it's 50-50. You have people who don't support him. You have people who don't but black people haven't supported him ever since he said slavery was a choice, but he didn't get canceled then. As opposed to everything he's saying now. There are people who stick by him, because he's a black man, and black people be supporting black people through the thickest and the thinnest, whether they be right or wrong. R. Kelly should be example. They be standing by people sometimes for greater or worse, and I'm just like, all right, that's what we want to do. That's what we're going to do. But I do like my boy Kosher Dills came out with a diss track about Kanye, and he's Jewish, and he asked me about it. He's like, yo, should I do it? And I'm just like, bro, stand up for your people. You feel me? Like, if that's your people's and you feel offended, and he said DEFCON 3 on your people, because rest assured, if, I don't know, some Jewish guy said DEFCON 3 on black people, there'd be mad black people talk about that guy. You feel me? So I was like, yo, stand up for your people's, fam. If that's what you want to do, ride. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing.
Why do you think it is the case, though, that whenever someone who's a black celebrity does something that's negative, there's a kind of expectation that black people are going to come out against that person?
Well, I think because I think there's like I don't know. I feel like people look at black people as like a kind of like a tribe, you know what I'm saying, instead of individuals, if that makes sense. But I do feel that they want us to part ways with, people who aren't aligned with what is cool or not cool to say. But at the moment, you just got to be like, this is one moment that this person is not correct. You feel me? Like there are various moments in our own lives where we are not correct. If there was a microphone on us 24/7, everybody would be canceled. Like 100%.
But like as an example, right? So Harvey Weinstein is in jail right now. He's alleged to have raped multiple women while he was the head of a studio. He's getting ready to go on trial again, I think in California.
It's a wrap.
And if he's convicted, he's going to jail for life. But no one's asked the Jewish community to come out against him. Like the Hollywood community has come out against him. Women, that's part of the whole Me Too movement. It wasn't about his religious identity or his identity at all as anything other than being a predator, at least as I understand it. I'm not aware of people coming out asking for, members of the Jewish community in particular to come out against him. It was about, the criminal justice system exacting punishment on someone who committed crimes. And maybe is that part of what it is the fact that what Kanye has said isn't criminal, it's just perceived by some as being in poor taste or having a negative impact on community. So like it's not like it's a thing that can actually be policed. It can only be condemned. Is that part of it?
I mean, speech isn't criminal. The only speech that's considered quote unquote criminal is death threats to the president. Like other than that, like speech isn't criminal, and the amendment has made it that way. So I just think it's in poor taste. And this is a time where, as you mentioned, the media, like anything and everything you say is on the media. Everybody has a camera phone, everything's recorded. Someone just shared a conversation that Kim Kardashian had a long time ago of her disrespecting Whitney Houston. I'm just like, how old was this? It was, it was when her and Ray J were dating. I'm like, well, why did you even hold on to that? It's like, so it's just like everything's up, everything's up for grabs in terms of, media. And that's just, I mean, I just think that's what it is. You have to accept the fact that if you said something, someone heard it, someone might have it, and that's just what it is. And
Along those lines, though, because we were talking about the people that are still his supporters. Like I'm reminded that Kendrick line where he says, "When ish hits the fan, are you still a fan?" And I'll be honest, I've been very surprised about how many people, not necessarily celebrities or anything, but just regular people are like, "I'm riding with Ye," and support the things that he's saying and the things that he's doing. And I think that there's a reason for that. And I don't think that reason is because those people are necessarily anti-Semitic as much as it is that they recognize that a broken clock is right twice a day. That you can be friends with somebody, you can support somebody who you don't agree with everything that they espouse. Like I don't know nobody who I agree with everything that they say. I don't agree with myself about everything that I've said. And I've said some wild stuff. Be like, yo, I don't know about that, Mazi. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah.
I get it, and it's not about being an apologist for those people, but about saying, like, some people are just contrary and like want to be like, yo, I'm riding with this person because you told me I shouldn't. I want to read this book because you told me I can't read it. Like, there's a whole movement right now, to ban books, and there's a whole a counter movement to buy those books because people said you can't read them. And so we live in this time where the world and the country is filled with people who are making choices that aren't necessarily in line with the overwhelming majority of people, but they still have that right to be able to be wrong. Like, that's part of freedom, is the freedom to be wrong, the freedom to make poor decisions, unfortunately the freedom to lie. But part of our responsibility becomes like to really investigate what is true. I think, to be honest, that one of the reasons why some of the things that Kanye said have not been, so shocking to members of the Black community in particular is because we've grown up listening to music that says in roundabout and direct ways many of the same things that he said. And so it's like, this is not new information for us. It's not new. It's not a new perspective. It's like, oh yeah, I know those people over here. That's what they think. And we don't dismiss those people and say they're not part of our community anymore. We just say we don't agree with them about that. And it's okay for them to have that opinion. But one of the things that's changing through social media is that the things that used to kind of be, kept among a small group of people is now viewed and discussed and dissected and adopted globally in moments. Like, and it's not just about ideas. It's like, the unraveling of Mr. West's empire took 2 weeks. This dude a month ago was like, I'm the richest Black man in history. And now he's not even a billionaire anymore because he got fired from multiple jobs. And I'm like, I don't know no other billionaires that get fired, bro. Like, how you getting fired from your own business? I mean, I take that back. I do know of billionaires who've been fired from, like, CEOs can get fired by boards and stuff like that. But the point is, like, oh, how the mighty have fallen quickly. And it's easy to pile on, but I'm really most interested in the people that are saying, nah, bro, I'm sticking with him. I believe in him, whether that's they like his designs, they like his ideas, they like his aspiration. Like, just like there's people that love Trump. And I'm like, how on earth can you love this wretched human being? But they love him because of all the reasons that they love him. And it's like, what do we think about those people beyond not agreeing with them? How did they get there? How did they get to a place where this is something that they're in alignment with? You know what I'm saying?
I think Black people have an innateness to want to support each other. Like, it's hard for a Black person to turn their back on another Black person. Like,
is that true, or is it Black people want to support people they perceive to be successful Black people? Because the biggest stereotype is like Black people pull each other down, crabs in a barrel.
Yeah.
All the negative things. Like you just said, it's innate for Black people to want to support each other. That's my lived experience.
Yeah.
But that's not the common knowledge or wisdom that I see, especially on social media, where people are always complaining about not being supported by people from their own community. So, like, say more about that. Because you having a different experience than some people.
Listen, right? Like, for me, like, that's how I operate, right? I'm the most white girl dating this person you probably know. Like, real talk. And still, like, I always buy Black first. Always. Like, I mean, probably like 10 years ago, right? There was a barber shop on 14th Street, the last black barber shop on 14th Street, right? I would still spend money there. The haircuts were bad. He was going, they were not good haircuts. But like they started out dope, but they got bad real quick. Real quick. I don't know if it was his eyesight or whoever, right? They got bad real quick. But I kept going to him because he was the only black barber on the street. Plus, I wear hats, so it's all good. You feel me? But the white girl that I was dating, she was like, "Sweetheart, why do you keep going back to that man?" I was like, "Because it's the last black barber in the neighborhood. Like I go there because of that." She was like, "That doesn't make any sense. Like you can find someone." I was like, "You don't understand." And for me, that's what it is. Like I buy. That's just what I do. Like I always buy black first.
You bring up a good point because the wealthy or that are alive today, like they were, like Oprah was older, was around, but still older than us. So like Kanye is someone that we drive in a beat up car, trying to get on to people in American history. How easy is it to throw that person away? People I know don't rock with him. Continue to be surprised. I said that Kendrick Lamar line, he's still a fan. Like Isaac, I like some of it. Can I rock with like the recent? I understand where he's coming from. Like Charlamagne the God said it. This is a case study in because at the end of the day, ultimately, much of it contained in a line. I can't remember what. In one of the older albums, where he's talking about black people killing each other. He's been saying that for a minute. He would contextualize that with
Things
like,
are glitching. Things are glitching. Are you glitching? Things are glitching.
Well, hopefully it's coming through crystal clear for the. I think we got our very first. Well, we just got. Sorry, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So I'm just saying that say this isn't the only thing that's really changed is targeting, because he's always been talking, whether it was 3LWs, whomever, in Leon, he's always been targeting people. He's targeting are people that's been supporting him.
Well, D.L. Hughley said people still sing the national anthem and they ain't got no problem with that. Meaning, like, people, how can people be like, yo, you still playing Kanye music? How you still play Kanye music? You know what I'm saying? Like, people still play the national anthem, and America then done some atrocious things.
But maybe is
that
part of it, though? Is that part of the reason why we're able to put three ideas in our heads? Is that recognize is filled with contradictions, but we haven't. But most of it, sport and citizenship lives that are filled or unkind, but that hasn't necessarily made any of in large numbers lead.
I mean, you're still glitching, so I'm trying to I think I caught some of what you were saying. Tell me an artist that's not contradictory. You know what I'm saying? Tell me a human being that's not contradictory. People grow and people change. Kanye West, will he feel this way in the future? I don't know. Did he feel this way in the past? I don't know. I tell you one thing though, if you judge me by the things I said when I was 18 versus the things that I say now that I'm 42, who's to know what? Who's to know? Who's to say? You feel me? Like I used to say, rappers who couldn't freestyle weren't real rappers. Like now I'm just like, that's just the skill set that I have, and some people don't have it, but that don't mean they ain't rappers, like, so it's just, it's, who's to say, people change, but
Well,
all artists are
to be
kind
honest, I'm only into the people that are following him. I excuse what it is he's done, but I'm just really done. And along the same lines, we've got Twitter and go in and fire a bunch of time and start to change policies. And I think you were telling me about that.
Yeah, if like Elon Musk is like got rid of, I guess, hate speech or whatever the case may be, and definitely, like, if I read correctly, the N-word usage is through the roof. Like, I think it's increased by like 250% or 500%. They have all these people using the N-word that would have been blocked, that are blocked on Facebook and would have been blocked on Twitter and times before. It's interesting because, if they're going to block the N-word, if they're going to unblock the N-word, then what else are they going to unblock? You know what I'm saying? If they're going to let that slide, what else are they going to let slide? You know what I'm saying? There's a wonderful cartoon by the name of Boondocks, and they have a lot of things about the N-word that is really kind of revolutionary, in my opinion. Shout out to Aaron Magruder.
Like what?
So he was like, this was interesting. He was like, yo. He was like, yo. It was, who was it? It was CeeLo Green. He was playing the character. And CeeLo was like, yo, you could say the N-word all day on TV, but you can't say the F word. And he said, watch this. N-word, 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 N-word. And when he tried to say the F word, bleeped out every time. And it's just like, is that where we at? Like, so I wonder what is Twitter going to allow and not allow? If they allow the N-word to fly and don't allow everything else to fly, just let it all fly, then what game are we playing? And on top of that, didn't Elon Musk say he was African American? Come on, fam.
So,
where we at?
It's in Dave Chappelle had a similar where he talked about word that was derogatory to people, and and he said in the skit, he said the reason why he say it is because he isn't one either. And so I think part of this is like the is that Black people will allow about us or by us slash what in this case non-Black say by and what it is that what in a virtual space. It's interesting, right? Because I remember a concert was performing, and he knew that.
Can we do about something about this? Like, you're still mad glitchy. Did I do something wrong?
I don't know, bro. Like, you're so there's nothing. But
okay.
And was that what I was saying? I remember one time I saw a Common performing, and he did something I've never. That was so, which was he gave audience in the audience permission to rap along with him outside of here, but you can say if you say it outside here, are you getting a beat down and it up? He's on the stage so he can see people. So I don't think he was really giving them prevent people from catching a beat down next to them who wasn't okay with them. So like this question around permission from Black people to use nigga is more problematic. I think in large part music.
Mm. Well,
and so what's rap? The proliferation of the word to places that never heard it.
Well, Black people, we have this innate ability to make everything cool. Like that's just what it is. N-word in media was there before hip hop, right? Like I remember them saying it on Sanford and Son. I remember hearing it on, Richard Pryor, Red Fox, so many comedians using the N-word, right? In movies, blaxploitation movies and things of that nature, right? Like this in movies. But hip hop took it to another level. And I think the innate ability for Black people to make anything cool, i.e., because even just look at the turntable, right? Like what we've done to the turntable is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Like should be one of the greatest remixes of all time, what we've done to the turntable, right? So, I mean,
done by Japanese people, though, right?
I'm talking about scratching and what we've done to that, like creating scratching and turntablism and stuff like that. Like we took that to another level. Like that's why I say you got to call it the greatest remix of all time. Just what we've done with the turntable. But I do think that the growth of the N-word in society is definitely due to rap music, like for sure. And because if me and you are talking and using the N-word, that's just me and you. But if you do an album, I do an album, and I say the N-word, you say the N-word, and it gets shipped out to hundreds and thousands and millions of people, and it's on TV, well, then we talk about something else. You know what I'm saying? We're reaching different audiences. We're reaching different people. Meaning, when I lived in South Dakota, amongst all these white people, they were definitely saying the N-word, but they don't until I explained it to them. Like, if you don't explain it to them, they just look at it as just a regular slang word. It's like, oh man, they're saying it, so I'm gonna say it. Like they don't really understand it, And
the last time I was in UK, there was a tour, and one of the shopkeepers, the people that were with me, and literally, niggas. Are you serious, bro?
Wait, say what?
Because they knew, and so there was like, you know what I'm saying? Being able to witness the impact of free speech of Black people's identities. We could say there's a lot of ways the popular culture being as women in popular culture, which is jacked up. There's equal opportunity in so, and we're coming up on 40 years, been distributed globally.
Wow.
How it is that's coming back to impact this current generation. The most interesting things, though, is how many words don't actually affect white people call them that doesn't have the same power, the same sting.
Well, you say
those Black people.
Well, the thing is, you heard it, like with Rick Ross, right? He had a song and tons of songs about killing other black people, saying the N-word and all types of other stuff, and nothing happened to him, you know. But when he did the date rape line, well, he lost lots of money and endorsements. I'm just like, well, he was rapping about killing black people too and using the N-word, you know what I'm saying? But nothing happened to him. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of things that fly in terms of the black community, but we allow it to fly, you know, like in the black community.
Is that really the case, or is it that we don't know how to hold accountable? Other than really the only things that time make companies change. It wasn't like Reebok. Oh, Rick Ross has insulted. There was a concerted effort on the part of women to go out and be like this is not acceptable with this artist and be promoted that there was and women's organizations. But when you think about like what are the black that are fighting on behalf of black people today, I'll be very honest. NAACP is a law. Last time I heard about the NAACP lawsuit, I hear about them doing candidate league, puts out policy papers for middle class black folks, aware of them accountable, holding companies anything beyond like hiring practice. It feels like from the overall majority of black organizations are much more about how to get how to on candidate staff, really changing policies, holding accountable, because some of those corporations like black folks, like more raging to local hip hop, gun violence happens in a neighborhood, and then we got to stop, promoting unity, and then go to, I actually having that music, but actually to just call it music. Like the idea that it's people attacking other people, kind of like animals. And so the idea of consuming and destroying your own species, but also members of your own race, like worse, because ultimately the goal for you to get out of the food chain. I hear you say it again.
Yeah, say it again, because I can't. I it was just mad choppy. I'm trying to hold that last one. I couldn't catch what you were saying.
No, I was just saying. I think that as gangster music, but to describe it as food chain music, people celebrating people. Way that like a cheetah destroyed is doing that to survive, and some of that is the death of other animals. Corporations in America are supporting a kind of mentality where you got to kill to survive.
I mean, if we're looking at corporations for justice, then we're gonna be looking forever. Corporations never really been concerned with justice.
That's not true.
I mean, what McDonald's gave us a salad?
You
like what?
Just gave us the Rick Ross example. Impressed by the right community.
But the thing is, that's not justice. Like it's only justice when those people when they press Reebok and they went against Reebok, and they protested Reebok. If they hadn't approached Reebok, Rick Ross would still be endorsed by Reebok right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so you're saying you make right decisions on their what you just said, which is but you can press.
Wait, say what? You breaking up? Say what now?
Companies to do what's right.
Yeah, that's the thing is you can press them, but the thing is like they know. Like I said, like they knew, they knew Rick Ross. They're familiar with his catalog. They didn't just pick Rick Ross up off of, you know what I'm saying, Spotify and be like, yeah, he's a famous rapper. We're gonna put they knew the stuff that he was saying, but it's common knowledge. His music has parental advisories and all types of stuff like that. But until he was pressed out about that, they took him off. He was on there and they took him off. This one guy said he went off script. He went off script. It was okay for him to talk about killing black people.
You're talking about
who?
Are you talking about?
Yeah, pretty much. He said he went off script. He was like, yo, it's okay for him to talk about killing black people. It's okay to talk about selling drugs to black people and doing all this other stuff and being the kingpin, blah, 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 blah. But as soon as he talked about date rape, they was like, nah, you know what I'm saying? But Reebok knew, you know what I'm saying? That's like you got a friend who steals from a whole bunch of people. He was like, yeah, it's okay. Oh, no, that's my boy. That's my boy. But then he stole from your mom's. Yo, dog, come on. It's like, bro, you knew he was a thief the whole time. What are you talking about, bro? Like, but because it touched home now? Like, nah, fam. Like, they knew. And you don't get, like, to quote Obama, you don't get quotes for you don't get points for after the fact. Like, nah, nah.
It's interesting. You just said a quarter of
a what?
Quarter. Like it's not all of what he's talking about. What he's talking about.
He says a quarter about what he's talking about. I mean, I get it. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about the corporations promoting gun violence and things of that nature and stuff like that. But he was a part of that too. You feel me? Like, you can't be like, yo, I'm tired of all these holes in the ship and be punching holes in the ship. You can't be, that doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? So he was a part of that too. And
I don't know.
And he's still a part of it.
Sense of what?
I mean, he still be making crazy music. Like, he still be making crazy. All his music ain't gospel music now. Like, he be saying some crazy stuff still. He'll pull a mace on you. You know what I'm saying? like it ain't, nah, man. Like, come on. Like, that's just what that is, like, but that's the deal though, right? It's art. And if these corporations want to put it out, they're going to put it out. People going to make it, they're going to make it. People aren't going to stop making art, especially now in terms of anybody can have distribution. People's grandmas can have distribution right now. Like, people think that you got to do something really elaborate to get on Spotify. You don't. You got to do something really elaborate to get on Tidal. You don't. Like, anybody can do it. Like, your sister, your daughter, your 5-year-old can make a song. You can get on this. You can get on DistroKid, CD Baby. It's free, like $25 a month, and then you can have your 5-year-old son's song on Spotify or whatever. Like, this ain't 1990 where you had to have labels pressing up tapes and CDs and blah 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 blah. Like, nah, man, it's a different world now, man.
Yeah, but restaurant is not the same thing as being able to.
Wait, say what? Say that again.
Into the restaurant is not the to eat. So yes, $25 can get you, but on the platform doesn't mean anybody can. That anybody's gonna hear you. This is one streaming service.
But that's the same with everything, though, right? Like, just because in the 1990s, just because I was signed to a major record label and I made an album, that don't mean it's hot. That don't mean it's gonna pop. That don't mean the people gonna listen to it. The danger is just that it's out there. You feel me? Like, I can put heroin on the corner of Georgia Avenue and Irving Street. I can just put it there. That don't mean people gonna pick it up. But the danger is the fact that it's just on the corner, like it's out there, you know? So that's just the danger of it, you know, like it's out there. And this market, the market is different now, you know, meaning like anybody has a market. If you got $25, you got a spot at the market.
Hey, let's have a debate Elon Musk, because I was watching. He wears this shirt as Mars, which I think for a couple of reasons. One, who is celebrating? But second, why on earth do you want to colonize a planet?
Wait, what? He's on. He said he has a shirt that says Mars, and he's
It's very weird in the Wi-Fi connection. I said he has a T-shirt that says
colonize Mars. Yeah, he on
and I
that.
said, who wants to celebrate one, colonize a place that doesn't have?
I mean, they've been talking about colonizing Mars for years. I mean, they got a tentative plan, a tentative blueprint, right? And I say tentative because with space, everything is. Say what?
People on Mars
In the next what? Yeah, that's just billionaire talk. It's not realistic. Like, under no circumstances is that realistic. You know, maybe Star Trek Next Generation talk that's realistic, but that's not realistic. Yeah, nah. But that's just what it is. Like they're fascinated by that planet. It doesn't look alive, you know, but they say they found water, you know, and they say they found quote unquote life. I don't know. But if we couldn't get it popping on the moon, how we gonna get it popping on Mars? Like I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all.
Last topic, prime time. Deion Sanders is now coach for Jackson State University, getting a lot of attention. Recruit players, good, you know, that were attempted to be recruited to choose to go to an HBCU. Not just at Jackson State. We're seeing basketball at universities. Crack the door open, because then you can hear me. Crack the door.
Oh, crack the door open.
I said crack it.
Oh, okay. I'll crack it.
So if students who can choose are choosing historically black colleges, becomes the future of those users of higher learning in terms of the fact that sports has on revenue, attendance, and enrollment. What do you think? What do you think about just the degree you're aware of it?
I mean, I think that's interesting, especially if we're talking about athletic programs, you know, like talking about athletic programs. I think to some degree, there are some players getting paid now. Some college players are getting paid now. So that just, you know, like they have to be able to compete, you know what I'm saying? Not just on an academic level, but on a sports program level, you know, like, and it's a deal. Like if let's say Jacksonville, like if let's say Deion Sanders, let's say they go to the Rose Bowl 5 years in a row and they win 5 years in a row. Like these are the things that make you compete, right? These are the things that get the big eyes, and young guys are like, yo, I want to go play there. I want to go play there. But winning changes everything, and you got to win, right? And if they win, they could do just about whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if they losing a lot, and they're going to say his efforts were in vain. but I don't believe his efforts are in vain. But if they start winning a lot, like Michigan or the Gators or Notre Dame, if they just start winning a lot, then it's over. Like they'll be able to compete with these major schools, with these major universities and programs out there, especially in the athletic department.
You know, it's interesting. The play schools, the reason why they're lab been time, and so right now, actually, I think it's the second season. On in his career, are winning. I qualify for any of those bowl games that you're talking. Ever heard of an HBCU at a bowl? It's different. Feel free to drop it in the chat. Different kind of tournaments for HBCUs, but I think that you're large, but also if they get drafted, the league, like ultimately, that's why you're demonstrate your so that a team will draft you. But this doesn't seem like it's a short. I bring this up because to me, this is also we see examples of someone going to work at a. I saw him in an interview recently on 60. He would go to a predominantly white school if they offer, meaning that if the money's right. But what could it look like if there was going to and to going to elite athletic programs at historic to see those athletes to bring not just athletic talent, like once they're going to because the team wins. They so if you're like the thing that most people talk about at HBCU is the football team. It's all of the other things that go into context. But if the team starts, maybe more people also start enrolling in the school.
I mean, but that's still winning, right? Like winning, like I said, winning that's still the foundation of all that. Like success or what people consider success, right? That is, if that's people going to the NFL, you know what I'm saying? If that's people going to the NBA, if that's people going to work at NASA, like whatever people consider winning, like people want to be associated with winners. You know what I'm saying? So Rose Bowl, Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? NAACP, NASA, like whatever people associate with winning, that's when those schools will be able to compete at those levels. Like that's just, and I even think Deion Sanders said that, like they have a long way to go before they can compete with certain schools like that.
I mean, I only raised the question. Like I said, it's a question about the difference that leaders can make, not just the school that they're at, but how people see opportunities.
Well, the thing is, Deion being there, like that's a definite form of leadership, but also him being, I think, like 4-time, 5-time Super Bowl champion, like Hall of Famer, like he's decorated, like very, very decorated. And someone like him going to a historically Black college or university, like basically putting his reputation and everything that he worked on the line to bring eyes to this program, to this school, like that says a lot. You feel me? Because I can't name somebody before him who did that. Not to say that there haven't been black players from the NFL that went to coach at historically Black colleges, but someone of his success and magnitude and skill set. I can't name it. So let's say Emmitt Smith does it next. Let's say Barry Sanders does it next. Let's say, I don't know, Ronnie Lott, Ricky Waters, the list goes on and on and on and on, right? Marshall Faulk, Shannon Sharp, Sterling Sharp. Like even if these guys don't, But if they get behind Deion Sanders, like ducks flying to the south on like a flying V formation, like if they just get behind him and support him, like the impact is big. The impact is huge because all of those guys are famous. All of those guys are winners. All of those guys have fan followings and fan bases. And just about everybody I named is on primetime TV talking sports to some degree. So if those guys get behind Deion Sanders and support Deion Sanders, like that will just even magnify his efforts even more. And the more you magnify his effort, that increases his better chances, gives him better chances of getting better players and higher picks and from other high schools and higher ranking high school players to come play in his program.
Yeah, I was looking up because I remember quarterback ball team Doug Williams. He also went to, but like you said, has celebrated.
Yeah,
right. He's a totally different caliber to do that work. To see whether or not, like you said, he inspires others that he's running or just themselves. I mean, those are really the major take that there's so many people who are dead, whether that is Mr. West doing or that is Elon Musk thinking, dreaming up technology to make the planet species. Deion Sanders going to the team where his son is the quote his own reputation on the line,
awesome.
and is betting on that same kind of result that I'm talking about. Pay attention, and his son will be sacrifice his children program if he didn't actually think forward through success.
I think that's I mean, I believe that. I don't think he would put his son there if he didn't think his son could thrive. You know what I'm saying? I don't know any parent who would do that. But what do you think about the Elon Musk thing in this Twitter situation? I haven't asked you about that. What do you think about that?
I mean, to be honest, I don't, but I'm not on it. There's nobody sending me and talking smack to they just say crazy things and they're just broadcasting. So it'd be kind of funny. I haven't had the experience of you telling me that is news to me. I know that's also a Kanye line, and he's been called an N-word so much on Twitter. That's a rough. People have been calling out of his name for a long Twitter, in particular.
Yeah,
I think that for me the bigger thing is of hate in media is not at all feels more present because it's with me all. I'm watching every day. It's not it's been in the past in terms of perpetrated against Black people. There's a point in time in this country's history where every single day America. But it's like, what is it? Why is there so much hate towards Black on platforms that are supposed to be sharing ideas and thoughts and building?
Because like here's the deal, right? Like when you see those, and I said I got in trouble on Instagram for this, right? I posted a photo of a guy that was hanging. It was a Black guy that was being hung. He was lynched, and it was a whole bunch of white people there. old people, white people, old white people, young white people, middle age, and children. And I said, only one person in this video for sure is not alive today. And the thing is like racism doesn't disappear. You know what I'm saying? Like it's here, you know, and there's always going to be somebody talking that talk. Um, these people don't disappear. These ideologies don't disappear. These thoughts. And these people have kids, you know, like these people have kids. These people have grandchildren, you know what I'm saying? And go on and on. And they share this and they share this and they share this. I think this, I think that. These people are this, these people are that, you know, so thus, that stuff is ingrained in their children as they grow up. Not all of them, but some of them. And like I said, it'll be a long time. I don't think racism will ever be over because when the day that racism is officially done, aliens will land and we'll hate them. You know, people will hate them. You know what I'm saying? We got people from other planets coming. We don't got that room. You know, people gonna hate them. You know what I'm saying? So people always gonna hate somebody, and that's just the nature of man. You know, I hate to say it, you know, and I don't want to think it because I innately believe that people are good, you know, and I always want to believe that people are inherently good. But there's always somebody hating on somebody. And
Standard can't be that there's no hate.
no.
The standard's got to be is not acceptable.
But the thing is, but then you cross into that line. What is hate? What is hate? Like what someone else would consider hate, someone else might not consider hate. You know what I'm saying? What someone else might consider cool, some people might consider uncool. Like it's just a very, I don't think it's a slippery slope, but you know, some people will argue you down to the T that Candace Owens loves black people. And I'll be like, I don't know.
No.
I just think that anytime you'll walk around with a White Lives Matter shirt, anytime you'll say black people we celebrate our worst, and we're the only people who celebrate our worst, when we have Confederate statues all across this country. We have schools named after Confederate leaders and generals and soldiers. We have libraries named after Confederate people, like, and she comes out the mouth and say, we're the only people who celebrate our worst. Nah, sweetheart, trust me, it gets a lot worse, and it didn't start with us. You know what I'm saying? So I question her loyalty to the people because of the things she says and the things that she does. That's just me, though.
I mean, her thing, but her can take a different form. I mean, the reality, she's a black woman who children, her husband's a white man. For all intents and purposes in America. And so what do those children see of them? I mean, it's like parents that their kids are consuming. It's not that about, you know, celebrating murder and drugs and death. Though is that you're saying, you know, there is. And she's taking it to an extension and for clicks. But that you then you might this broadcast. I'm not saying you do. I actually agree with her more than you think.
I mean, I listened to her I listened to her. I've listened to her several times. I don't disagree with her 100%, but like I said, I question her loyalty to black people, like 100%. Like, and I feel completely confident in saying, like, yo, you can't have this platform talking that talk. Like, but you can though, right? Because it's free speech, right? So it's like, is this what we doing?
Yeah, this if I've learned nothing else in the is that the views and things that different are very different than what.
That's true.
And
That's true.
so, like, speaking on behalf of conservatives, also speaking on behalf of some conservatives. So the question just becomes like, what is it? Different points of view about the same community.
You're right, and in fact, I definitely, in fact, I made a post. I posted something that's like, being pro-black also means allowing black people to be black in ways that you don't agree with. So I hear you on that.
Oh, cool. I definitely appreciate you joining me. These three particular people operating right now in the public square of leadership, some of which we are strange to us, and some of which are able to actually just talk about the fact kinds of leaders in this moment, in athletics, and in culture, brings a different set of experience of values to the table, is establishing an opposition approach to leadership. There's still that who you're actually against. I don't remember the full quote, but it's like, against you're not doing that. So knowing that there's some people we just can't ride with you on that. This aspect of what it is you've done don't mean I got to condemn you against you, but I got to say I can't rock. I think that's important.
No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
No doubt. I've 2 years because I know you don't rock with me on most things. Rarely come out against me publicly.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That's another episode of Beautifully. The executive producer of one of the. That's another episode of No. Was fortunate enough to be joined by my talking about some is being made in America. Helpful. Catch you next time, which will be next Sunday. Hopefully, I'll co-host to talk leadership.
Enrolling in the Academy is really simple. You'll just go to our website, wblinc.org/academy. And when you get here, you'll see our main page and you can click enroll and it'll take you to this form where you're just gonna fill this out. It'll take you about 5 minutes. Once you submit this, you're enrolled in the Academy and you'll receive an email from me so you can pick the classes you'd like to take and join our Academy family. So we're an after-school program rooted in hip hop. So we have a bunch of classes that you may find interesting. You can go right to our website and go to our classes tab and you'll see some of them, from performing arts like hip hop theater, spoken word, hip hop dance, some of our business classes that are like a boss and walk it like I talk it, which would be more arts management and entrepreneur based. And then we also have things like our music classes, emceeing and rapping and beat production and DJing. You can go to wblinc.org/academy to enroll.